The subject of UFOs is a well-known and controversial one, which has some less well-known offshoots. One of these offshoots is the animal mutilation phenomenon. In the 1980s, investigative journalist Linda Moulton Howe documented many cases of unexplained animal deaths occurring throughout the United States. Argentina, Australia and Scandinavia are just a few of the regions which have also fallen victim to these bizarre occurrences. What makes the deaths so inexplicable is the types of injuries commonly found on animal carcasses, which include precise surgical cuts and holes in the body, without any spillage of blood at all, missing internal organs, rectal coring, and very commonly a neat piece of skin and flesh removed from the animal's jaw, usually without a cause of death being apparent. Not one person or agency is known to have been seen or caught or convicted for carrying out such attacks. The knee-jerk response of most intelligent-minded people who learn about this phenomenon for the first time is that it is either a satanic cult or a military or government secret project of some kind. These are nice theories, but once you test them against the evidence, they fall short of explaining the phenomenon. On occasions, some of the procedures would be difficult for our own medical professionals to carry out, such as the removal of entire organs from tiny holes, on occasions complete exsanguination of blood and inexplicable sealed edges around the holes. The phenomenon occurs worldwide, with thousands of cases being reported across many countries. Many different species of animal fall victim, both wild and domestic, including sea creatures and birds. So it's hard to equate the evidence to a government project or a satanic cult. Add to this the fact that UFO sightings are commonplace in areas of mutilation activities. It is obvious why this subject has become inextricably linked to UFOs. Last year I made a film called Silent Killers in collaboration with a group who investigates such cases in the UK called the Animal Pathology Field Unit. They have documented many UK cases, predominantly of sheep. On Sunday the 24th of October 2010, I was alerted to a very recent case in East Sussex of a landowner reporting a mutilated horse, exhibiting some of the classic injuries found in cases of animal mutilation. This programme follows our investigation into this particular case, which some viewers may find disturbing. On the day, a Sunday, we intended to have a relaxing afternoon, and I happened to check my emails at about 1 p.m. Amongst the dozen or so emails was one that jumped out immediately. It read, "I have been watching your interview on YouTube with David Cayton about the animal mutilations. Today, we have discovered a horse on our property which has been killed and mutilated in an extraordinary and surgical manner. I would like to make contact with David Cayton. Could you forward his email or ask him to email us?" Then they gave me their telephone number. I immediately called the number and spoke to the landowners. They said that a horse had been found at about 9:45 a.m. which belonged to a neighbour. The horse was found in the middle of a field about 300 yards from their house. A vet and police officer were in attendance, and the matter was being kept low-key. The vet said that she had not seen this kind of attack before and seemed perplexed. The injuries to the horse included a strip of flesh removed from the jaw with damage to the nasal bone and palate, a huge gaping wound on the side of the neck extending to the ear also being removed. Injuries to the penis and rectum were also present. The chestnuts of the horse had been cut off. I had to ask, what are chestnuts? and the landowner explained they were small, coin-sized lumps just above a horse's knee on the front legs and just below the hock on the hind legs. I took down some notes and then immediately rang the UK's most prominent animal mutilation researcher, David Cayton. David rang the landowners and carried out further telephone inquiries. After several phone calls between myself and David, I was in two minds as to whether to travel down and see the evidence for myself and possibly get the evidence on camera. I started packing the cameras and equipment into the car, but with a 600-mile round trip, I wasn't sure it was the right thing to do. At 10 to 3 p.m, I got a call from the landowners with a new development. The police presence had been significantly stepped up and a detective inspector was on the scene, preventing anyone from getting into the field or seeing the horse. About 7 police were guarding the entrance to the field. An RSPCA inspector was also on the scene. Although some photographs had been taken by the landowners, they felt that the opportunity was slipping away to gather further evidence or photographs by an independent investigator, such as David Cayton. In fact, the detective inspector was described as very unaccommodating. So I started unpacking the car. Then at 4 p.m. the phone went again. The police had decided to leave the animal overnight as they were not prepared to have it taken away at this time. I immediately called David Cayton and told him of the helpful attitude of the landowners who had offered to put us up for the night if we drove down today. So off we went, setting off from County Durham at 4:40 p.m. with the intention of picking up David Cayton from Manchester along the way. We're travelling down to East Sussex. It's Sunday the 24th of October and this morning at about 11 a.m. I received an email from somebody who owns land in East Sussex, and there a horse was found with many of the classic mutilation injuries. It had a jaw strip, a rectal core, and there's no blood on the carcass or on the ground. Various other injuries as well. We've been told that the horse is going to be left in the field this evening. We're on our way down to East Sussex now. It's 20 past 6 p.m. We're going to pick up David Cayton on the way in Manchester, and we aim to get there around about 11 p.m. Right, we've abducted David from his house in Manchester, and he's now in the back of the car. So just going on the information that we've been given so far, David, we've not had any pictures yet. So what are your feelings on travelling down here?
Yes, well, we're heading down the M6 now, so I'm very delighted to tag along, because this is very interesting, because it looks like being the perfect, certainly modus operandi is classic.
Yeah.
And as far as I'm concerned, and I think the APFU, it's the first horse case we've actually come across, first hand.
Right. And
to have the opportunity with very cooperative animal owners and the stable owners or the riding school owners, whose field it is, to allow us to do what we can first thing in the morning before the authorities might whistle the carcass away.
Yeah.
So,
and we've got a range of kit. You've got your Geiger counter, your APFU toolbox,
yes,
which includes the
the rectal core measuring stick.
Right. And so I've got a tri-field meter with me and another electromagnetic device. So we're well kitted up to at least to do some kind of testing. And you've got your photography equipment as well.
Make some of our own images, yes. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So hopefully, whatever the people have taken already, the digital pictures, we're hoping they'll be good. We have asked for close-ups if possible, and they're saying they've done that. So if not, we'll try and fill in. We'll do our own thing anyway.
Yeah.
So it'll be, I hesitate to say, a pleasure to look at this, but it has to be done.
We arrived at the landowner's property shortly after midnight. They invited us into their home, where we discussed the events over tea and biscuits. It became clear immediately that they were aware of similar incidents throughout the world and were keen to help us gather evidence by giving us as much access as we required. We were not entirely sure how long the horse was going to remain within the landowner's custody, We knew of cases in the past where authorities have been expedient in removing animals without any serious investigation. Although by this time it was the dead of night, we decided to get our torches out and walk down the track to the trailer on which the horse had been placed.
And they've done something with this tooth because that tooth is quite loose. It's damaged. They've knocked a section off that tooth. See, it's been split.
Yeah.
That's perfect. Look at that. It's been cut.
Yeah.
Don't normally bother with teeth, but perhaps I was in the way. Oh, the tongue, yes.
No, the tongue
Using
looks
gloves
it.
onto it.
Yeah, I can see part of the tongue there.
Looks all right to me, but don't know.
Right.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, you're getting it there
You're
now.
getting it. Yep.
Do you want to pass
well.
it? Are there any bottles on?
Yes. Oh, there's tissue in there.
Yeah, that's good. Good idea. That's coming out. Yep. You're going to fill that.
Nice one.
Yes, that's
Yeah,
a
you've
good
got
amount. Yeah, you got
it's at least
plenty there.
half full there. We went back to the house and spent a little longer chatting to the landowners, then turned in to get some sleep before filming the next day. Okay, we've just had a very nice breakfast with some very nice hosts that have put us up for the night. We are at the farm where the horse was discovered yesterday morning, so we're now going to go and have a look in the field where the horse was discovered, and also have a look at the horse which has been put onto a trailer. So let's get cracking. The surrounding area was very hilly. The field where the horse was discovered the previous morning was on the side of a valley, and because of this was not easily visible from the few houses in the immediate locality. We walked up a steep embankment which led to the side of the field where the horse was discovered, a few hundred yards from the landowner's house. The previous evening the horse had been moved off the field onto a trailer, so was no longer lying where it had been discovered. An intriguing fact came to light when we entered the field to locate the ground where the horse was first found. It took the landowners several minutes to relocate the point where the horse had been discovered. Not a single drop of blood was visible in the vicinity. No footprints nor vehicle prints gave any clue to the location. There is no way anyone would have been able to find the location without previous knowledge that a mutilated horse had been found there. The landowners supplied some photographs of the horse before it had been moved from the field. The photographs showed clean incisions in the neck and apparently organs removed from the neck. A strip of flesh cleanly and surgically removed from the jaw. It is safe to say from these images alone that this attack was not the work of an animal predator. Some days after the animal was discovered, the story reached national news media, presumably from information given to them by the police. Here are a few quotes from their reports. The Daily Mail said police were hunting a maniac who stabbed to death a horse in a frenzied knife attack in a field. Detective Constable Annie Nash from Sussex Police said, "We are working closely with the RSPCA to investigate this mindless act of animal cruelty and find those responsible." The Sun said a horse killer who butchered a filly and cut out some of its internal organs was being hunted by cops last night. In addition to the media providing presumptuous comments, a number of internet horse forums were full of condemnation for the people who had perpetrated this crime. When we were at the farm, we spoke to the lady who had been involved with the local riding school and training horses for over 20 years. She was visibly shocked and distressed by what had happened to the horse. She stated that she could not understand why there was no blood and repeated this several times. She explained that in the past, horses that have been cut by barbed wire spill blood everywhere, all over their body, all over the grass, everywhere. She was clearly spooked as to how these injuries, which are massively more serious than a barbed wire cut, could result in not one drop of blood being spilled anywhere.
So we think that's where the head was there, David, just where that...
When the horse was raised onto the trailer from the field, and also when it was raised onto the wagon from the trailer, no blood was spilt from the carcass, suggesting that the animal may have been somehow exsanguinated during this attack. In previous cases of animal mutilation where post-mortem has been conducted, animals have been completely drained of blood.
So we're just at the site where the horse was discovered, which is on a slope in a field, a few hundred yards from the property. And I'm just panning up, and we're in a location just outside Alfriston in West Sussex. So there's not, other than the tyre tracks from the trailer that removed the horse, there's nothing else here to...
There's some horsehair here, probably off the mane.
That's really the only remnants, a few bits of hair. So as you can see, the only visible traces of blood are in that little hole. Should we get a sample from that hole, David? So this hole here was at the back end of the animal, presumably where the rectal core's been.
Yeah.
And the front of the animal would have been where, do you think?
Yes.
Okay.
And this, you can see the compression, the sort of the major compression here, sort of in this area. But as you can see, there's absolutely no blood. And we saw that yesterday. And no struggle.
That's just feces again, isn't it? Not there.
Yeah, I think those would be feces disconnected with this, because obviously this is a grazing field.
But it was a big, it's like a tight black ball, was it?
No, it was like a little trail.
Oh, a trail.
Yeah, like, that sort of section right about that long, but it's gone. It's obviously been eaten during the night.
So we've been told that there was a trail of kind of a black putty type substance left on the ground, which is not, it's maybe been eaten by an animal or something.
Yes.
Later inspection of the landowner's images revealed that this strange black substance had been captured on a photograph.
So,
I'll just
find any analysing ready.
right. I'm filming from the side now, so the rear end was here, where the number 2 is, and so that's the rear end where David is. And where the rectal core was, what's the diameter of that hole in the ground, David?
The depth is about an inch and a half.
Inch and a half deep by...
About 2.5 inches.
2.5 inches in diameter.
But it's not, it's more of an oval shape.
An oval shape.
Yeah, about 2 inches by 2.5, maybe
2 by
3.